welcome. Waiting for my water to boil. Cup of honey. Good morning, cup. Anyways, Hey, good morning. No, it's honey. Honey. Yeah, I guess it looks like a dark ale though. It's a honey ale. It's the sweetest honey ale you'll ever taste. It's pure honey. I'd love to give you some. You'll have to come to me though, for me to give it to you. It's probably easier for you to come to me than it is for me to go to you. I'll give you some honey that's on a bagel if you want it. I'll bake it right into the bagel. Honey flavor, right infused. Oven infused. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put my first batch in. Oh, this is too low. It's in the way. My pot's a little bit full. Should be fine though. I don't want to empty water out because then I'll lose some of my honey. Honey is sacred. Should not be wasted. There we go, my first batch. It's in the pot. My oven's hot, ready to go. It's a bagel shop. This location is in Richmond, off of Steveston Highway in Ironwood Plaza, Richmond, BC. I'm a baker. I'm making bagels, by the way. So I just put a batch of bagels in the water here. It's a big pot with some boiling water. I'm gonna put the bagels on these boards here. This is the steam table right here, or wet table, whatever you want to call it. Wet table. These are mahogany boards that we put the bagels on, and then I'm gonna put them in the oven here. You can see the flame back there. I turned the flame up a bit. It's a stone deck oven. On every math test. I'm not sure what that's a reference to. Do they use bagels bagel bakers on math tests? I don't know. Oh, does it? Oh, that's funny. I've never seen I've never taken a math test with a baker as an example. They should use bakers as examples for everything, though. We're a fine breed of human being. We're one of the original professionals. We were professionals before there were professionals. Bakers are the greatest. We're the oldest profession after. Maybe we are the oldest profession after maybe beer makers, and the other oldest profession. I lost it there. My fingers slipped. I'm standing in front of a hot oven. And my fingers get sweaty. Oh, my flame went off. I just noticed. Must be a malfunctioning flame there. Still waiting for my pot to come to a boil. I don't know what happened there. My fingers actually like slipped a little bit, and then I lost my fingering, and yeah. So I'm gonna blame the standing in front of a sweaty oven here. Yeah, people love people who are making food. What should I play now? I don't know. Oh. I gotta get back. I gotta start baking here. Oh, thanks. Thanks for following. I don't stream with great regularity. I try to be as regular as possible, but yeah, I work 5 days a week, but I don't stream every day. Just gonna wash my hands, and I'm gonna take the bagels out of the water. If you ever watch me game, just be aware that I'm a better baker than I am a gamer. So, but I've been playing Vermintide 2, which is an awesome game. I love Warhammer games. I remember buying the board game when I was a teenager, and I didn't have enough friends to actually play it. No, I did. I actually played. I had a couple friends. I shouldn't lie, but they weren't as into it as I was, I think. So it's like a childhood fantasy come true. Playing these Warhammer games. I was into the art. I loved I was into the band Bolt Thrower, and Bolt Thrower had the same artist. No, I'm making bagels. Yeah, I play. I like first-person shooters. I grew up playing more like, role-playing games, Nintendo games. I own every Nintendo game console. I've owned every game console, every Nintendo game console there is, except for the Switch, which I'm going to buy this probably this shopping season, Christmas shopping season. I'm really looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3. That's what I love Baldur's Gate. Kebab. No, we're not selling kebabs here. We're not a kebab shop. We're a kebangle shop. We sell kebangles. Come get a kebangle. I don't know if there aren't very many kebab shops here in Vancouver. Or is a kebab the same thing as a donair? I don't know. I don't think I've ever had a kebab. What the hell is a kebab? I like a shish kebab. I've had shish kebab. I just like saying the word kebab. Yeah. The kebab skewers are my weapons of choice in Vermintide. I like to use the kebab skewers. That's my impersonation of kebab skewers in Vermintide right there. Oh man, I'm addicted to that game. All I can think about is Vermintide right now. Just water. It's just water. But I'm trying to keep them wet because I'm gonna put them in a hot oven, and you want the boards to be wet so they don't burn. And for the bagels, the boards need to be wet so the bagels don't stick as well. There's a steamy hot batch of bagels. And I'm trying to keep them hot and wet. You want to put the seeds on the bagels when they're wet. Otherwise the seeds will just fall off. So the wetter the bagel is, the better the seeds will stick. And the honey I added to the water earlier at the beginning of my baking shift. It'll help the seeds stick as well. It also adds a little bit of flavor, helps with browning. Hot and wet. That's how bagels need to be when you put them on the boards. When you put the bagels on the boards, they got to be hot and wet. When you bed them on the boards, hot and wet. I gotta stop saying hot and wet here. Put the bagels on the boards. Gotta have a gentle touch when you're putting them on the boards. They're fragile. Fragile, hot and wet. That's what a bagel is before it's been baked. Got a couple stragglers here. I got 1, 2. There we go, we got 32 bagels in the... Oh, thanks for watching. Nice, thanks for watching. Enjoy your day. Another straggler. Well, that means there's another one down there. Seems like the first batch always gets a few sticky ones in there. Oh, okay, you didn't leave. Okay, good. Thanks for watching, everybody. I also recite poetry or a story. I can tell you a story if you'd like. I know 2 long poems, the Pied Piper of Hamelin and Child Roll into a Dark Tower Came. And I also know a couple stories. There's Roland Pied in the Oven Blade and The Science of Laziness. That's my poetry playlist. Okay, I'll tell you a story. This one's called Roland Pied in the Oven Blade. There once was a young man named Roland Pied who played the recorder when he wasn't baking bagels. One day he was walking through a park and playing his recorder to rest a while from all his baking, when suddenly he spied a corpse lying on the ground beneath a swarm of flies. He put down his recorder, walked over to the corpse, shooed the flies away, and covered the dead man with stones. Returning to his oven later that day, he found that his oven blade had gone on by itself and already baked half the bagels he needed. From that day on, Roland Pied was the happiest baker alive. He'd bake until he was tired, then he'd pull his recorder out of his pocket while his oven blade went on by itself. But Roland Pye lived in a town whose mayor did not admire his skill and was jealous of his fame. So the mayor devised a plan to rid the town of Roland. In the beginning, he said that Roland was a good worker, but lazy. Next, he said that Roland baked a whole lot, but badly. Then he accused Roland of being a sorcerer, and the people turned on him. Therefore, Roland Pye took his recorder and left his home behind. When Roland Pye came to a neighboring town, he went to all the business owners, but none of them would give him any work. Finally, he met an old busker and asked him for work to keep body and mind together. "Come along with me," said the old man, "and we will share alms." So Roland Pye, the old man, started going around and singing. "Baker, why do you bear those silent things? Baker, how did you forget to stand where your feet are? Baker, no woman loves your wealth, although it is golden and good for her health. Baker, you are too dirty for a lover to wish to preen. Your limbs are the knots and cords of an old-fashioned machine. Baker, line the rings and bash the boards. You don't need their applause for a thing that is yours. You are a baker and are what you are, not by a miracle, but by the work of your arms. Baker, be who you are." Everybody gave alms the old man, but to Roland they said, "What is a young man like you out begging? Why don't you work for a living?" "Nobody will hire me," replied Roland Pye. "That's what you say. There is a king with so many hungry soldiers that he'll pay good wages to anyone willing to feed them." So Roland Pye went to the king's kitchen and took the old man whose alms he'd been sharing. The oven had never been used by anyone. Roland mixed the dough, then he rolled it into rings. Then he boiled them, dressed them with seeds, and baked them until they're golden brown. Then he tossed them into a crate to cool down. Whenever Roland wearied of baking, he'd play his recorder. And once he was weary of playing his recorder, he'd sing. "Baker, why do you bear those silent things? Baker, how did you forget to stand where your feet are? Baker, no woman loves your wealth, although it is golden and good for her health. Baker, you are too dirty for a lover to wish to preen. Your limbs are the knots and cords of an old-fashioned machine. Baker, line the rings and bash the boards. You don't need their applause for a thing that is yours. You are a baker and are what you are, not by a miracle, but by the work of your arms. Baker, be who you are." Hearing the singing, a princess looked out the window. She saw Roland Pye and fell in love with him. But she was a princess, and he a baker. The king would never consent to their marriage. So they decided to run away together. They fled at night in a boat. They were already on the high seas when Roland remembered the busker. He said to his beloved, "We must fetch the old man, since he shared his alms with me. We can't go off and leave him like that." At that very moment, the old man came up behind the boat, walking on the water as though it had been dry land. Reaching the boat, he said, "We agreed to divide everything we had, and I shared everything I owned. Now you have the king's daughter, and must give half of her to me." At this, he gave Roland Pye the knife to cut his bride in two. Roland Pye took the knife with a trembling hand. "You are right," he said. "You are perfectly right." He was on the point of cutting his bride in two, when suddenly the old man stopped him. "Stop! I knew you were a just man. I am the dead man, mind you, whom you covered with stones. Go now, and may the two of you always be happy." At this, the old man walked away on the waves. The boat came to an island rich in all good things, with a princely palace awaiting the newlyweds. The end. We got our first batch in the center of the oven. Thanks. The rest of the story is based on an Italian folktale, but I wrote the song. The song is autobiographical. It's autobiographical. Thanks for watching. Thanks for enjoying the story. I love those stories. It's from a book called Italian Folk Tales by Italo Calvillo, and I've modified the story for my own purposes. So I'm not a complete plagiarist, I guess. Baker, why do you bear those silent things? Baker, how did you forget to stand where your feet are? Baker, no woman loves your wealth. Although it is gold and good for her health. I don't know if I'm actually singing there. I'm just like sort of. Yeah, the internet is a crazy place, that's for sure. I'm actually trying to bring some sanity to the internet. I hope I'm bringing sanity, not more insanity, to the internet. Because I think the internet needs some sanity right now. Because we got like insane tweets from the insane leader of the world or whatever, the free world. That insane dude that will go unnamed. The man with no name. I will not utter his name on this stream. The Voldemort of the United States of America. The Voldemort. I should read Harry Potter. I just know the story from fragments of like how other people, and watching parts of the movie. I sort of missed out on the Harry Potter craze. I'm too old for that. I grew up reading J.R.R. Tolkien. Although he was like a couple generations before me, obviously. J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. Raffi. And Fred Penner. And Mr. Dressup. And Wonderschozen. Oh yes, I am by people know that I'm here though. And I'm surrounded by cameras. So if you're thinking of assassinating me, it won't be so easy. I will put up a fight. I will put up a fight. I have a giant wooden paddle here, so watch out. Watch out. That's all I can say. Oh, I need to give this board a little bit of a wipe here. Harry Potter, yeah. It makes me think the other baker doesn't know how to bake. And I have to clean the boards like this. The bagels should never stick to the Shiva. If you're doing it right, there should be no sticking at all. I should watch the movies at least, I guess, eh? The Harry Potter movies. I should know what's going on. That was a pretty significant film. Yes. High-paying job. Let's just say I'm making a living wage. I'm paying debt off. I can buy things. That's all I need. I don't know if this will make me rich. I'm hoping Twitch will make me rich. I think a lot of people are hoping Twitch will make them rich though. I'm a boilionaire. A bagalarian. Bagalionaire here. Boilionaire. It's easier to say. No, baking jobs are like, they're decent paying. They're labor intensive. It's labor intensive work though, and the hours are not ideal. I also do poetry. I'm thinking of maybe opening my own bakery one day. I think that's something that'll make you rich. Owning your own business, that's how you get rich. I don't own this business. You have to own the means of production in order to get rich in this system. Seems gotta be a capitalist. Gotta have money to make money. Okay. Have a great day. Hope your studying goes well. Study hard. Study hard, my friend. Study hard so you don't end up being a baker the rest of your life. Actually, baking's not too bad. I like to imagine a world in which Trump did not inherit millions of dollars from his father, and he had to become a bagel baker instead, and he learned a lesson of humility and humanity and comradeship and humanity, and he learned all the lessons that he'll never learn in the life that he's living. That's my dream of a world where Trump did not inherit millions of dollars from his racist father. Hamlin towns in Brunswick, my famous Hanover city. The river Weser, deep and wide, washes its wall on the southern side. A pleasanter spot you've never spied. But when begins my ditty, almost 500 years ago, to see the townsfolk suffer so from vermin was a pity. Rats. They fought the dogs and killed the cats, and bit the babies in the cradles, and ate the cheeses from the vats, and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles. Split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests of men's Sunday hats, and even spoiled the women's chats by drowning out their speaking with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. Alas, the people in a body to the town hall came flocking. "'Tis clear," cried they, "our mayor is a naughty, and as for our corporation, shocking, to think we buy gallons lined with bourbon, for dolts who can't or won't determine what's best to rid us of our vermin. You hope because you're old and obese to find in the furry civic robes ease. Rouse up, sirs, give your brains a racking, to find the remedy we are lacking, for sure as fate will send you packing." At this the mayor corporation quaked with a mighty consternation. An hour they sat in council. At length the mayor broke silence. "For a gilder I admire McGowan sell. I wish I were a mile hence. It's easy to bid one rack one's brain. I'm sure my poor head aches again. I scratch it so, but all in vain. Oh, for a trap, a trap, a trap." Just as he said this, what should hap at the chamber door but a gentle tap. "Bless us," cried the mayor, "what's that?" With the corporation as he sat, looking little through wondrous fat. Nor brighter were his eyes, nor moister than a too long opened oyster, save when at noon his paunch commuteness for a plate of turtle green and glutinous. Only a scraping of shoes on a mat, anything like the sound of a rat makes my heart go pit-a-pat. "Come in," cried the mayor, looking bigger, and in did come the strangest figure. His long queer coat from heel to head was half yellow and half red, and he himself was tall and thin, with sharp blue eyes each like a pin, and light loose hair and swarthy skin, nor tuft of hair on cheek or beard on chin. What lips could smile went out and in, there is no guessing his kith or kin, and nobody could enough admire this tall man in his quaint attire. Quoth one, "It's as my great-grandsire, starting up at the trump of doom's tone, had walked this way from his painted tombstone." He advanced towards the council table, "And please, your honor," said he, "I am able, by means of secret charm, to draw all the creatures living beneath the sun, that crawl or swim or fly or run, after me so as you never saw. And I chiefly use my charm on creatures that do people harm, the mole and toad and newt and piper, and people call me the Pied Piper." And here they noticed round his neck a scarf of red and yellow stripe, to match with his coat the self-same check. And at scarf's end hung a pipe, and his fingers they noticed were ever straying, as if impatient to be playing upon this pipe, as low it dangled over his vesture so dangled. "Yes," said he, "Pied Piper as I am, in Tartary I fed the can. Last June from his huge swarms of gnats, I eased and Asia the Nizam of a monstrous brood of vampire bats. And as for what your brain bewilders, if I rid your town of rats, will you give me 1,000 guilders?" 50,000 was the exclamation of astonished mayor and corporation. Into the street the piper stepped, smiling first a little smile, as if he knew what magic left in his quiet pipe a while. Like a musical adept, the glow of pipe was gypsy wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled, like a candle flame where salt is sprinkled. And ere a few shrill notes the pipe uttered, you heard as if an army muttered, and the muttering grew to a grumbling, and the grumbling grew to a mighty rumbling, and out of the houses came the rats tumbling. Great rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, gray rats, tawny rats, grave old potters, gay young friskers, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, cocking tails and pricking whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the Pied Piper for their lives. From street to street he piped advancing, and step for step they followed dancing, until they came to the river Weser, wherein all plunged and perished, save one who stout as Julius Caesar, swam across and lived to carry, as he the manuscript he cherished, to Ratland home his commentary, which was, at first shrill notes of the pipe, for her to sound as a scraping tripe, and putting apples wondrous ripe into the cider presses ripe. and moving away of pickled up boards, and leaving a drawer of conserve cupboards, and drawing the corks of train oil flasks, and breaking hoops of butter casks. And it seemed as if a voice, sweeter far than by harp or by psalteries breathed, called out, "O rats, rejoice! The world has grown to a vast dry saltery. So munch on, crunch on, take your nunch on, breakfast, supper, dinner, lunch on, and just a bulky sugar punch on, already staved like a great sun shone, gracious scarce an inch before me, just as me thought it said come bore me, I found the west rolling over me. You should have heard the Hamlin people ring the bells and they rock the steeple. Go, cried the mayor, and get long poles, poke out the nests and block up the holes, consult with carpenters and builders, and leave in our town not even a trace of the rats. When suddenly up the face of the piper perked in the marketplace, the first, if you please, my 1,000 guilders. 1,000 guilders? The mayor looked blue, so did the corporation too, for council dinners made rare havoc with claret, marcel, vin de gras, hop, and half the money would replenish their cellar's biggest butt of Rhenish. To pay this sum to a wondering fellow, with gypsy coat of red and yellow. Besides, quoth the mayor with a knowing wink, our business was done at the river's brink. We saw with our eyes the vermin sink, and what's dead can't come to life, I think. So, friend, we're not folks to shrink from our duty of giving you something to drink, and a matter of money to put in your poke. But as for the guilders, what we spoke of them, as you well know, wasn't joke. Besides, our losses have made us thrifty. 1,000 guilders, come take 50. The piper's face fell and he cried, no trifling, I can't wait beside. I promise a visit by dinner time, Baghdad, except the prime, the head cook's pottage. All he's rich in, for having left in the Caleb's kitchen of a nest of scorpions, no survivors. With him I prove no bargain driver, with you don't think I'll bait a stiver. And folks who put me in a passion may find me pipe after another fashion. How, cried the mayor, do you think I brook, being worse treated than a cook, insulted by a rival, with idle pipes and vegetables? Threaten us, fellows, do your worst, blow your pipe there till you burst. Once more he stepped into the street, and to his lips again laid his long pipe a smooth straight cane, and there he blew 3 notes, such sweet soft notes as if musicians never playing their days in rapid air. With his rustling that seemed like a bustling, merry crowds adjusting and pitching and hustling, small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping, little tongues chattering, like foals in the farmyard and barley is scattering. Out came the children running, all the little boys and girls, with rosy cheeks and flaxen curls, and sparkling eyes and teeth like pearls, tripping and skipping around merrily after. The wonderful music was shouting and laughter. The mayor was dumb and the council stood, as if they're changed the blocks of wood, unable to move a step or cry to the children merrily skipping by. Could only follow with an eye that joyous crowd at the piper's back, and how the mayor was on the rack, and their wretched council's bosoms beat as the pipe returned from the high street to where the west had rolled its waters, right in the way of their sons and daughters. How he returned from south to west, to Copperwork Hill his steps addressed, and after him the children pressed, great was the joy in every breast. He never crossed the mighty top, he's forced to let the piping drop, and we shall see our children stop. When lo, they reached the mountainside, a wondrous portal opened wide, as if a cavern was suddenly hollowed. The piper advanced and the children followed. When all were in to the very last, the door in the mountainside shut fast. Did I say all? No, one was lame, and could not dance a whole of the way. And then after years, if you'd blame his sadness, he used to say, as dull in our towns as my playmates left, I can't forget that I'm bereft of all the pleasant sights they see, which the piper also promised me. For he led us, he said, to a joyous land, joining the town and just at hand, where waters gushed and fruit trees grew, and flowers put forth a fairer hue, and everything was strange and new. The sparrows bred a peacock here, and their dogs ran our fellow deer, and honeybees had lost their stings, and horses were born with eagle's wings. And just as I became assured, my lame foot be speedily cured, the music stopped and I stood still, and found myself outside the hill, left behind against my will, to go now limping as before, and never hear of that country more. Alas, alas for Hamelin, there came to many a burgher's pate a text which says at heaven's gate opes the rich at his easy rate, as the needle's eye takes a camel in. The mayor sent east, west, north, and south to offer the piper by word of mouth, wherever it was men's lot to find him, silver and gold to his heart's content. If he only returned the way he went and brought the children behind him. But when they saw it was lost endeavor, and piper and dancers were gone forever, they made a decree that lawyers never should think their record dated duly. If after the day of the month and year, these words do not as well appear. And so long after what happened here, on the 22nd of July, 1376, the better memory fixed the place of the children's last retreat. They called it the Pied Pipers, where anyone playing piper favor was sure for his future lose his labor, nor suffered they hostelry or tavern to shopkeepers the street so called. And off the place of the cavern, they wrote the story on a column, and on great church window painted, the same to make the world acquainted, how their children were stolen away. And there it stands this very day. And I must not admit to say, in Transylvania there is a tribe of alien people who ascribe the way in dress, of which their neighbors lay such stress, to their fathers and mothers having risen, of some subterranean prison, into which they were trepanned, a long time ago in a mighty band, out of Hamlin towns in Brunswick land, but how or why they don't understand. So, Lily, let me and you be wipers, of scores out with all men, especially pipers. And if they should pipe us free from rats, from mice, if we promise aught, let us keep our promise. My first thought was he lied in every word, that hoary cripple with malicious eye, asking us to watch the working of his lie on mine, and most scarce able to afford suppression of the glee that pursed and scored its edge at one more victim gained thereby. What else should he be set for with his staff? What saves the waylay with his lies and snare? Old travelers who might find him posted there, and ask the road. I guess what skull like laugh would break, what crutch can write my epitaph for pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. If at his counsel I should turn aside into all this track which all agree hides the dark tower, yet acquiescing I deter as appointed, neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end descried, so much as gladness amend might be. For what with my whole world wide wondering, what with my search drawn out through the years, my hope dwindled into a ghost not fit to cope with that obstreperous joy success would bring. I hardly tried now to rebuke the spring, finding failure. Oh my God. My first thought was he lied in every word, that hoary cripple with malicious eye, asking us to watch the working of his lie on mine, and most scarce able to afford suppression of the glee that pursed and scored its edge at one more victim gained thereby. What else should he be set for with his staff? What saved the waylay with his lies and snare? Old travelers who might find him posted there. And asked the road, I guess would skull like laugh would break, or crutch can write my epitaph for pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. If at his counsel I should turn aside into ominous trap which all agree hides the dark tower, yet acquiescing I deterred as he pointed, neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end described, so much as gladness some end might be. For what with my whole world wide wondering, what with my search drawn out through years, my hope dwindled into a ghost not fit to cope with that shepherd's joy successive spring. I hardly tried now to rebuke the spring, my heartbeat finding failure in its scope. As a sick man very near to death seems dead indeed, and feels begin and end the tears, and takes a farewell of a dear friend, and hears one bid the other go, draw a breath, breathe air outside. Since all is over, he saith, and the blow fallen no grieving can amend. While some discuss if near other graves be room enough for this, and when a day suits best for carrying the corpse away, with caribou banners, scarfs, and staves, and still the man hears all and only craves, he may not shame such tender love and stave. Thus he had for so long suffered in his quest, heard failure prophesied so often in writ, so many times among the band of wit. The knights who to dark towers searched to dress their steps, would just fail as they seemed best, and all doubt was now should I be fit. So quiet as despair I turned from him, that hateful cripple, out of his highway into the path he pointed. All the day had been a dreary one at best, and dim was settling into its close, yet shot one grim red leer to see the plain catch us astray. For mark, no sooner was I fairly found, pledged to the plain after a pace or two, then pausing throw backward a last view. Over the safe road 'twas gone, grey plain all round, nothing but plain to the horizon's bound. I must go on, naught else remained to do. So on I went. I think I never saw such starved ignoble nature. Nothing throve, for flowers as well expect a cedar grove. But chortle and spurge according to their law might propagate their kind with none to awe. You'd think a bird being a treasure trove. No penury inertness ingrimates in some strange sort where the land's portion. See or close your eyes, said nature peevishly, and nothing skills. I can't help my case. 'Tis last judgment's fire does cure this place. Calcine its spots and set my prisoners free. If there pushed me ragged thistle stalk above its mates and headless chalk, the bents were jealous elves. What made the holes and rents the dock's harsh swartz leaves? Bruised as to balk all hope of greenness. 'Tis a brute must walk, passion the life of the brute's intense. As for the grass, it grew as scarce as hair and leprosy. Thin dry blades pricked the mud which underneath looked kneaded up with blood. One stiff blind horse, his every bone and stare, stood stupefied however he came there, thrust out past service from the devil's stud. Alive, he might be dead for aught I know, with red gaunt and callop neck to strain, and shut eyes beneath the rusty mane. Seldom one such grotesqueness with such woe. I never saw a brute I hated so. He must have been wicked to deserve such pain. I shut my eyes and turned them on my heart, as a man calls for wine before he fights. I asked one draught of earlier, happier sights, or thinking they could hope to play the part. Think first, fight afterwards, a soldier's art. One taste of old times sets all to rights. Not it. I fancied Cuthbert's reddening face beneath its garniture of curly gold. Dear fellow, till I almost felt him fold. An arm and mind fixed me to that place, that way he used. Alas, one night's disgrace, oh, at my heart's new fire and left it cold. Giles then, the soul of honor, there he stands, frank as 10 years ago at 91st. An honest man should dare, he said he dares. Good with the scene shifts, follower hanging in his hand, pinning his breast a parchment. His own band reads it, poor traitors spit upon it cursed. Better this present than the past like that, back therefore to my darkening path. No sound, no sight as far as the eye can strain. Will the night send a howl or a bat, I asked, when something on the dismal flat came to arrest my thoughts and change their train. A sudden low river crossed my path, as unexpected as a serpent came, no tides congenial to the glooms. This as a froth bite might have been a bath of the fiend's glowing hoof, to see the wrath of his black eddies be spat with flakes and spoons. So petty yet so spiteful, all along low scrubby alders kneeled over it, drenched willows flung them headlong in a fit for out despair, a suicidal throng. The river which had done them all the wrong, whatever that was, rolled by, deterred no whit. Which while I forded, good saints, how I feared to set my foot upon a dead man's cheek. Each step or feel of the spear I thrust to seek, for hollows tangled in his hair or beard. It may have been a water rat I speared, but ugh, it sounded like a baby shriek. Glad was I to reach other bank, now for a better country. Vague presage. Who are the strugglers? What war did they wage? Whose savage trumpet doesn't have the dank soil to a plash? Toads in a poison tank, wild cats in a red-hot cage. The fight must so have seemed in that foul cert. What penned them there with all the plain to choose? No footsteps leading to that horrid muse. None out of it. Mad Druid set to work, their brains no doubt like galley slaves turf pits for his pastime Christians against Jews. And more than that, a furlong on, why there? What bad use was that engine for? That wheel, or brake not wheel, that arrow fit to reel men's bodies out like silk, with all the air of Thoth's tool, on earth left unaware, brought to sharpen its rusty teeth of steel. Then came some stub ground, once a wood, next to marsh it would seem, now mere earth, desperate and done with, so the fool finds mirth, makes a thing and mars it, till his mood changes and off he goes, within a rude bog, clay and marsh, sand and stark black dearth. Now blotches rankling, colored gay and grim, now patches where some leanness of the spoils broke into moss or substances like boils. Then came a palsied oak, a cleft in him, a distorted mouth that splits its rim, gaping at death and dies while it recoils. As far as ever from the end, not in the distance but the evening knot, point my footsteps further at the thought, great black bird, Apollyon's bosom friend, sailed past nor beat his wide wings dragon pen, that brushed my cap, perchance the guide I sought. For looking up where I somehow grew, the plain had given place all round to mountains with such names that grace mere heights and heaps now stolen in view. How thus they surprised me solving you, how to get from there was no clearer case. Yet half I seemed to recognize some trick of mischief had happened to me, God knows when, in a bad dream perhaps, here ended then progress's way, and when the very nick of giving up one more time came a quick, as when the trap shuts you're in the den. Burningly it came upon me all at once, this was the place, those two hills crouched like two bulls on horn and fight, while to left a tall scalp mountain, Dun's daughter to dozing at the very nunce, after a lifetime of training for the sight. What is amidst lay but the tower itself, the round squat turret, blind as a fool's heart, built of brown stone without a counterpart the whole world. The tempest mocking out points his ship, and thus the unseen shelf he strikes on only with timber scarf. Not see, because of night perhaps, why day came back for that. Behind and left the dying sunset, kindled to a cleft. The hills like two giants in hunting lay, chin upon hand to see the game at bay, now stabbing in the creature to the heft. Not here, when noise was everywhere it told, increasing like a bell, names in my ears, of lost adventurers, my peers, how such was strong, and such was bold, and such was fortunate, each of old, lost one moment now the woe of years. There they stood, ranged along the hillside met, to view the last of me, a living frame, for one more picture in a sheet of flame. I saw them and knew them all, and yet, dauntless, a slughorn to my lips I set, and blew, child Roland to a dark tower came. It's coffee time. There once was a rich man who had just one son. and the boy was dearly loved by his father. As everybody knows, the greatest scourge on earth for a rich man is work. Therefore, when his son turned 14, the father decided to send him to school to learn the science of laziness. On the same street as the rich man there lived a famous and highly respected professor who had never done a lick of work in his life he could get out of doing. The rich man called on him and found him stretched out in the garden under a fig tree with a cushion under his head, a cushion under his back, and a cushion under his buttocks. Before talking to him, I must first see how he does, said the rich man to himself, and he hid behind a hedge to observe the man. The professor lay as still as a corpse with his eyes closed. The only time he stirred was whenever he heard the thud of a ripe fig falling on the ground near where he lay. He'd reach slowly out, bring the fruit to his mouth, and swallow it. Then he wouldn't stir again until another fig fell. This is just the professor my son needs, decided the rich man. He came out from his hiding place, introduced himself, and asked the professor if he'd teach his son the science of laziness. Old man, answered the professor, just above a whisper, don't talk too much. It tires me to listen to you. If you want to bring your son up as you and I are, just send him to me. So the rich man went home, took his son by the hand, thrust a feathered pillow under his arm, and led him to the garden. I urge you, he told him, to do everything you see this professor of idleness do. The boy, who already had an inclination for that particular science, also stretched out under the fig tree. Observing his teacher, he saw him reach for every fig that fell and bring it to his mouth. Why should I work myself to death reaching for figs, he thought. And he lay there with his mouth wide open. Soon a fig fell into his mouth, and he let it go down slowly. Another fig fell. Then he reopened his mouth. Another fig fell. This time it missed. He lay there perfectly still and murmured, why so wide of the mark? Fig fall into my mouth. Seeing how wise his pupil already was, the professor said, go on now. You have nothing to learn from me. You can even teach me something. So the boy went home to his father, who thanked heaven for having given him such a smart son. Baker, why do you bear those silent? Hey, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to a virtual dream. I think that's all for the stream today. I'm gonna go get a coffee. coffee time. I'll just wait until you say something. Response, and then I'll leave. I'll end the stream after that. Yeah, I need to get coffee. Thanks for watching. Have an excellent morning. Tune in later. I might be playing some Vermintide. I don't know if that's your thing. I bought a headset, but it has the shittiest microphone on it. So unfortunately, there's no game commentary. But that's how it goes, I guess. I guess I'll have to buy a microphone or a headset or something. Those boards steaming. It's very ASMR. Steaming boards. Anyways, thanks for watching.